Anansi the spider. You hear that name and you probably think you know the story, right? The clever, kind of comical trickster. But, well, today we're going to unpack the much deeper, more complex story of this legendary character. So, yeah, let's get right into it.
And our guide for this whole deep dive is this really fascinating piece of research from the University of Ghana. It's by Anita Adorkor-Ado, and it basically challenges us to look past that simple caricature and find out what Anansi is really all about.
All right, first things first, let's start with what we all know. For most of us, Anansi is the ultimate trickster. You know, he's that cunning spider who's always got some kind of scheme up one of his, 8 sleeves?
And look, this isn't just some vague memory from stories we heard as kids. This idea is everywhere. The Brattleboro Museum, for example, calls him the beloved and comical character, but also the infamous trickster of the Ashanti people. See that? Beloved and infamous in the same breath. That right there, that's our first clue that there is way more going on here.
I mean, a perfect example is that famous tale of how Anansi brought stories to the world. He uses his pure wits to pull off these impossible tasks, all to trick Nyami, the sky god, into handing over all the world's stories. So yeah, he's a hero in the end, but his methods? Pure trickery.
So that's the Anansi we all know and probably love. But what if that's not the whole story? What if that's just scratching the surface? What if that whole trickster thing is actually hiding something way more profound?
Okay, so here's the problem with just seeing him as a simple trickster. It totally sells him short. It turns him into this flat, one-dimensional character when he's really anything but.
And this gets us right back to the core argument of that research we mentioned. Anita Adorkor-Ado puts it so plainly. She says this assessment is one-sided and that Anansi is multi-dimensional. It's not just about him being a villain. The truth is, he's so much more complex than that.
And this raises a really fascinating question, right? Think about it. If Anansi is this untrustworthy, unpredictable trickster, why on earth would a society entrust him with their most precious possession? Their stories, their traditions, it just doesn't add up. It's a total paradox. Well, to solve that paradox, we have to look at the many faces of Anansi. See, he's not just one thing. He's actually a combination of several really crucial societal roles.
So the research breaks this down into 3 key roles. Anansi isn't a contradiction. He's a reflection of complexity. He is a cultural hero, a social metaphor, and a societal narrator. And these roles aren't contradictory at all. They actually show he's a mirror for how complex life really is. So let's break each one of these down.
Okay, first up, cultural hero. His stories, they aren't just for fun. They're basically a vehicle for teaching a society's values, its customs, its practices. People learn the rules of their world through his successes, and maybe even more importantly, through his failures.
Next, he's a social metaphor. Think about it. Anansi is good and bad. He's brilliant and he's foolish. He's a hero and he's selfish. And why? Well, because so are we. He's literally holding up a mirror to the complex, dual nature of being human. He's an allegory for all of our own internal contradictions.
And finally, there's his role as the narrator. Sometimes Anansi isn't the hero or the villain in the story. He's just the storyteller. He's the owner of the story, and his job is simply to tell us how things are in society, the good and the bad. In these moments, he's less of a character and more of a social commentator.
So all this complexity made Anansi the absolute perfect figure to bring into the modern era, and specifically to bring onto the stage. So let's take a look at how he was adapted for the world of theater. So picture this. After independence, Ghanaian dramatists were searching for a way to create theater that was uniquely their own. They wanted to build a national identity, something rooted in indigenous traditions, not just copying Western styles.
And this is where Anansi comes in. A pioneering playwright named F.U.S. Sutherland had this brilliant idea. She took the traditional Anansi storytelling traditions, which are called Anansesem, and she adapted them for the modern stage. She created a whole new theatrical form called Anansa Goru, which basically means Anansi plays.
And this idea really took off. Anansi became the central, recurring figure in what's now known as New Ghanaian drama. I mean, just look at this list of major plays by some of the most celebrated playwrights. Sutherland herself, Martin Owusu, Efo Kojo-Mawugbi, Ya Asare. Suddenly, Anansi wasn't just folklore anymore. He was a star of the national stage. Okay, so let's put all these pieces together. You have the folklore, you have his multiple complex roles, and you have this modern stage presence. What you get is a brand new and much, much richer understanding of who Anansi really is.
And this quote from the research just nails it. Anansi is a multi-dimensional character that epitomizes the attributes of heroism and villainy. He's not one or the other. He is both. He contains both.
So here's the real takeaway, the crucial point. Anansi isn't just a character in a story. He's a mirror reflecting the complexities of us, of human nature, and of a society that's grappling with its own identity. He's not just a spider. He's a reflection of who we are. And that kind of leaves us with one final big question to chew on. Is Anansi's dual nature, his mix of good and bad, is that a contradiction? Or is it simply a reflection of our own? And this entire powerful way of looking at him, this lens that helps us see an old story in a totally new light, that's all based on the incredible research of Anita Adorker Ado from the University of Ghana.